All right, welcome to The Explainer. We're diving into a really high-stakes geopolitical plan today, one that's causing some major alarm bells to go off in Israel. We're talking about a proposal to put Pakistani soldiers, of all people, on the ground in Gaza. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the plan itself, which is pretty surprising, to say the least. Then we'll get into why Israel is sounding the alarm so loudly. After that, we'll dig into the really deep roots of this distrust. We'll even try to decode what Donald Trump might be thinking with this. And finally, we'll look at the diplomatic showdown this whole thing is brewing up to. First up, what exactly is this plan that's got everyone talking? Let's jump right in. So get this. The core of the whole issue is a plan, reportedly backed by Donald Trump, to send the Pakistani military into Gaza. Now, their job would be to act as peacekeepers, to keep Hamas in line and stop any more attacks on Israel. And hey, on the surface, that sounds like a pretty reasonable idea, right? But yeah, while it might sound like a solution, Israel's reaction has been, well, the complete opposite of positive. We're talking an immediate and really, really fierce backlash. You just have to look at the headlines in Israeli media. They're not calling this a security measure. No, they're framing it as a straight-up dangerous plan, a direct threat. You can just feel the concern, and it's coming from everyone, analysts, journalists, even former top generals. And their demand is crystal clear. They're saying Pakistan must be blocked just like we blocked Turkey. See, there was a similar idea floated before with Turkish troops, and Israel shot that down immediately. So the thinking is pretty simple. If it was a no for Turkey, it's definitely a no for Pakistan. Okay, so you have to ask, why? Why such deep mistrust? It's not like Israel and Pakistan have this long history of fighting each other directly. Nope. It all comes down to a crack, a split that Israeli analysts believe exists right inside the Pakistani military. A split that they think says a lot about Pakistani society as a whole. And this, right here, is the absolute heart of the problem for Israel. The worry isn't about the Pakistani military as one big unified thing. It's about this perceived two-faced nature. The thinking goes like this. Sure, the top generals might be pro-American and willing to play ball, but the actual soldiers, the guys on the ground, they're seen as a totally different story, pro-Hamas and deeply anti-Israel. So this creates all these nightmare scenarios in their minds. The fear isn't just that the mission will be a failure, it's way worse. It's that these peacekeepers could actually help Hamas. They could look the other way while Hamas rebuilds, or even hand over weapons. Some might just desert and join up with them. The whole thing could go from a peacekeeping mission to a total geopolitical disaster in a heartbeat. Which, of course, brings us to the next big question. Why? Why on earth would Donald Trump push for a plan that seems so risky? Well, from where Israeli analysts are sitting, they've got a couple of theories about what's going on with this, let's call it, peculiar idea. Okay, theory number one, it's personal. Trump has actually called Pakistan's army chief, Asim Munir, his favorite field marshal. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So one idea is that Trump is just asking for a personal favor from a guy he likes, and maybe, just maybe, not fully grasping how complicated and explosive the situation on the ground really is. So the debate in Israel is really, what's the real goal here? Is this just a naive plan, something that completely misses the mark on Pakistan's internal politics? Or is it something smarter, a strategic move to keep the Pakistani army busy in Gaza so they can't help with Saudi Arabia's security? Or maybe it's the simplest answer. Trump is just cashing in a chip with his favorite field marshal. And look, this isn't just people talking in circles. This is real, and it's escalating. We are heading for a major diplomatic showdown, and the fate of this entire plan is hanging in the balance. The clock is ticking, and the stakes are, frankly, sky high. Right now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in the U.S. He's got a meeting scheduled with Donald Trump, and you can bet this whole Gaza plan is going to be front and center in that conversation. So you can imagine the kind of questions Netanyahu is going to bring to the table. He's going to challenge the whole idea, right? He'll be asking for guarantees that, let's be honest, Israel probably thinks are impossible to get. Things like, can your top general really guarantee control over every single one of his soldiers? Is Pakistan's leadership genuinely on board with protecting Israel? And the big one, what happens if this all goes sideways? So what this all boils down to is a massive clash of perspectives. On one hand, you've got a plan that's being sold as a path to peace. But on the other, you have this incredibly deep fear of betrayal. And that leaves us with the big lingering question, doesn't it?
When you have this much distrust baked into the equation between the supposed peacekeepers and the people they're supposed to protect, is a plan like this doomed from the very start? I guess the whole world is about to find out.